It's such a beautiful day. Today on You Make Me Sick TV, it's Kristi Noem that makes me sick. She gets the award today, and this is why. What she claims and what she does are two separate things. Kristi Noem continues her lie of this is who I am, what she claims she is, and what she claims to stand for in the MAGA Republican Party. Yet this is what she does, which is have a multi-year affair with somebody. And she's done this while she was governor of South Dakota, and now she's still doing it in the White House. So she claims she has these family values. She doesn't do them. She has 3 kids and a grandchildren also, by the way. So let me go on. According to the Wonkette, she might lose her boy toy, Corey, because his frying pan-faced Trump goon hanging America's dog-murdering, psychopathic Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and thereby banging himself right out of a job, they write at the Wonkette. Rumors about those two have been going on since at least 2021, when Noem was still the governor of South Dakota, and Corey was still being accused of shit like bragging about the size of his, to donors' wives at conventions and yanking female reporters' arms so hard that they filed assault charges against this man. So when Noem took over as Secretary of DHS earlier this year, she brought Len Lewandowski along, that's Corey, I'm going to continue to call him Corey, along as her chief of staff. Yes, he was her chief of staff, and she wanted him to be her permanent chief of staff. That would be really convenient for both of them. But apparently, Trump nixed the idea on the ground of the optics of the two rumored romantic partners working together like that would look bad. So Corey instead was appointed as a special government official, which allowed him to work unpaid for the government for a maximum of 130 days. This was the same status Elon Musk held. He has basically been doing the chief of staff job, which for him seems to mostly involve traveling all over the world with Noem on her many adventures, riding horses in Argentina, smearing and posting in front of a giant cell full of tattooed inmates in El Salvador, touring the concentration camp the administration built in the Everglades in Florida without the title and a ticking clock hanging over his head. Now, Axios reports that White House officials' concerns about him and her relationship keeping him from landing chief of staff or any other permanent position at DHS. So Corey is finding ways to game the system by underreporting the number of days he has worked, putting off hitting that magical 130-day cutoff as long as possible. We can't be surprised at that, can we? No. Okay, a little background on our Secretary Noem. She married Byron Noem in 1992. They are still married. They have 3 children. They have grandchildren. Somewhere it said she earned a degree in political science, but then other places said she didn't graduate. She went back home in 1994 after her dad passed, and eventually another site stated that She eventually attended a liberal arts program in South Dakota. So I don't know what her background really is, how much political science she got, because she did not apparently get her degree in that. And then what kind of training does she actually have for this position, besides having no moral compass by shooting her dog and by having affairs? So where is her family now? I found this picture of her family with her husband and her 3 children. She has 2 girls and a boy, and it's quite older because they were all quite younger, the children and themselves. And again, where are they now if they still are married? And then I found a Facebook post 1 year ago in August 2024. She appears, and I put that in caps, to the liking that she has family values as she poses in the picture as a mom, a wife, and a grandma. Looks like the wholesome U.S. family that the MAGAs only want to exist in the world. But where are their values? Not only their family values, their everything values. The post also says underneath it, because that was my take on the post says, kids, 3 perfect grandchildren, and 1 more on the way. Excited to see our family grow. Aren't they darling? Bless her heart. How do they feel about her long gone feminine side? I guess you could call it. That's what I call it. Because when I see her in action in ICE in LA, in charge of these government goons being aggressive on these human beings for no reason at all. We're all human. And her having elected officials arrested ruthlessly as well. Where is this woman's feminine side? Where is her values and morals? So I looked up the definition of feminine energy, which I've shared with you before. I do look up the definitions of things now and then because I like to remind myself what they mean to the rest of the world in font and remind me of their core meaning before I put my filter on it. So feminine energy is defined as a non-gendered context, refers to a set of traits and behaviors often associated with nurturing, intuition, and emotional expression. Again, nurturing was the first one. I don't see that in the political optics, the way she treats people and talks about people and talks at people when she's asked questions under oath. I'm going to go on. It's not about physical appearance, but rather a way of being that includes receptivity, creativity, and a focus on connection and relationships. While traditionally linked to women, feminine energy can be embraced by anyone and is seen as a complement to masculine energy. It's a reminder of what feminine energy means. You could be feminine energy and have masculine energy also, but there is a balance. Okay, so it was reported that Kristi Noem and Corey were traveling across South America. According to CNN report, he was frequently at her side as she visited various countries, including Argentina, to participate in bilateral meetings. The New York Post has many clips of them together in South America. Hey, I'm not judging. I'm really not. I'm just pointing out that she lies hugely without even saying a word. And she also lies when she speaks. If she didn't publicly denounce anything different that her family values as well as the party's values, again, another MAGA pointing the finger. Do what I say, not as I do. Her family photo value look is the same life I actually live, and I'm a true Democrat. Yes, we exist. Matter of fact, raising children in a red county, many of my kids' best friends were children of ministers, pastors in our neighborhoods, and MAGAs. They actually mixed very well together because we all had the same family values, which the MAGAs I didn't take seriously at the time. I just thought this one particular dad was a genuine asshole, and he was a MAGA. He spoke clearly about it, and he used to go to conferences. And our kids are actually still friends with them. We're not, but our kids are still friends with them. My kids and their friends, they grew up mostly a lot of their younger years on my front lawn playing sports together. It kept them busy after school. They all did really well in school. That was also part of our family values. One of those things that are very typical for very religious families. So they were calling this young man preacher, and it was ironic that on one side of me, there was a really religious Black family, and on the other side of me, there were two women that eventually married. And one was a police officer and the other one was disabled. She had MS. And as their kids got older and more blindsided by their parents' values and their church, the Black family actually started putting up, how they were against same gender marriages, because that's what was going on at the time that year. And they would put them on their lawn. I mean, oppressed people oppressing others. I just don't get it. I don't understand how your culture was oppressed all these centuries, and now you're oppressing this culture. Amazing. Amazingly disgusting. Anyway, back to Noem. I want to say again that I am not judging her. I am calling her out to live her life with integrity, which if you read any of Martha Beck's books, she's got 3 degrees from Harvard, and she's a freaking awesome writer. She's very popular. And if you live your life in integrity, it doesn't mean faking these family values that everybody on the way right conservative people believe. Living your life in integrity means being aligned with who you really are, so you're not split. Because if you're living a life this way and living a life that way, you're split. You're not one. You're not whole. It's a really good book, one of her many good books. Okay, so there's a common thread here I'm trying to call out to anybody who sees this. And the common thread, which I call under the radar, like what goes under the radar in my family sometimes. So what's going under the radar in this MAGA Republican government is this living in integrity thing when they actually don't live in integrity. And it's actually being pushed on all of us here in the U.S. And then the Dems, us, we get a pushback when we live our lifestyle outwardly, like if someone's gay, they're gay. If they're trans, they're trans. If they want to be with multiple people, they're with multiple people. It's just living aligned with who you are. Speaking of which, I read this weekend that MAGA Mike Johnson and his wife has attended a sexual orientation change therapy, which means that's where people in the MAGA world send their kids when say they're gay. They send them to this SOCE therapy. And apparently MAGA Mike Johnson and his wife has attended it too, where they try to tell you that you're not. And it basically leads, there's been major studies on this, and it basically leads to depression and other horrible things. Low self-esteem with, doesn't sound horrible, but that affects your whole fucking life. So the common thread there just lies there. I mean, look at J.D. Vance. When he was younger, he said he was gay. Look at Lindsey Graham. It's reportedly known that the White House knows he's gay. It's a common knowledge there. Mike Pence, to name a few. I mean, just do it. We don't care. It's you guys that care. We don't care. And then you have, of course, the gang of people that are straight, but they cheat on their spouses, but they stay married for optics and gain, maybe? I don't know. So as if we don't see any of this. It's crazy. Okay, back to Noem, because she's got the You Make Me Sick award today again. As the governor of South Dakota, some of her policies that she ran on were abortion. What do you think? She was opposed to it, right? Yeah, you're right. She was actually a loyalist when it came to anti-abortion advocate, signing several bills making it harder to obtain an abortion in South Dakota following the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which I still can't believe happened. South Dakota enacted trigger laws banning abortions, with exceptions only to save the mother's life. She did not support exceptions for rape victims. So also her take on education while she was governor of South Dakota was she was very vocal about her opposition to critical race theory and signed an executive order to limit its teaching in South Dakota schools. She also expressed reservations about government funding for child care, stating that it is not the government's role to raise children. So you want women to have babies, but you don't want to help them raise their children unless they're in a pretend marriage. I don't understand, y'all. Child care is out of control, by the way. Now she's in the White House and she's Homeland Security Secretary. And look at the emergency response to the Texas flooding just over a month ago. I mean, she actually has no qualifications because that was an utter, complete, epic fail, and she didn't even care. The day after she was posting her choices, I made a video of this, what her governor official portrait should look like, and she posted 3 choices that were hand painted and she labeled as Blondie and her highlighted hair picture. So she's really a sociopath, y'all. She posts as the head person to ICE turned Gestapo, like it's cool to treat people this inhumane way. I mean, inhumane doesn't even cover it, the word, and these vulgar acts to humanity that she implements with face guards. More on ethics. Her daughter, Cassidy Peters, had an unsuccessful application to become a certified real estate appraiser in South Dakota when she was investigated because of special treatment and abuse of power. What a shock. A Republican-controlled legislative committee investigating the incident concluded that Peters, her daughter, received special treatment according to the Argus leader. Bren, the director of that program, she testified that she felt intimidated during this meeting, a claim that Noem's office denied. According to NPR News, after that meeting, Peters, her daughter, was able to enter into a stipulation agreement allowing her to move forward with the application process, even though Brent stated that this essentially granted Peters a third chance. That is not, I repeat, not part of the standard certification process. So there was forced retirement and settlement. Bren was pressured to retire after the meeting and eventually received a $200,000 settlement. So the woman, obviously, her intuition was spot on, wouldn't you say? A strong feminine energy. So just an unfriendly reminder. Gnomes have shot her dog, Cricket, in her yard on purpose. And she's also MTN minus Touch Network mentions the White House has $1 million PR project just for Kristi Noem right now because her public view has to be changed because it's so negative right now. You saw this South Park episode, right, y'all? If you didn't, you thought the first one was good, go watch the Kristi Noem one. They had off last week. It was already in the schedule for them, so don't be alarmed. But the week before last was Kristi Noem's, the second episode of South Park this year. And man, they did her truth. Watch it. It's awesome. So she definitely needs a PR team. And again, we're paying for it with our tax dollars. You're welcome, Kristi. You're welcome for all these projects you and Trump have put together that is ruining our country. You're welcome for your housing. You're welcome for improving your optics. You're welcome for all your injections in your hair. I hope you're enjoying them. And I'm not against those things. I'm against the abuse of those things over integrity. I think that's it, y'all. I wanted to keep it short, so have a great rest of your day by the time I get this post up. Love you.